Hello and welcome to the first video in the Work Coordinate System series. In this series of videos, we're going to learn how to create planes and how to reposition parts and fixtures into those planes so that we can properly machine them in the simulator. I'm going to start by opening our fixturing device, which is going to be a simple Kurt vise. It is a SolidWorks assembly consisting of two individual parts. By opening that Kurt vise up in MasterCAM, you'll notice that two levels were created by default, one for each piece. The very first thing we're going to do is create our separate level for just both pieces on one level. We don't want to have them separated. I'm going to create Op 10 Kurt vise, and we'll basically move the second piece onto number 1 here, and then delete the second one. So again, the way we're going to move levels is you can highlight both pieces with a tick box or individually click them. I'm going to right click and go to change level. I want to move both pieces. I don't want to copy. I want to move both pieces to the active layer, which is number 1. After clicking OK, you'll notice that both entities now exist on level 1. That's exactly what we want. And I'm going to go ahead and right click on number 2, go to purge empty, and I just want to delete the selected one. Okay, so now we only have our one level for the vise. I'm also going to go ahead and select these vise pieces again, and I'm going to change the solid color to a different unique color just to keep it separate from the part that we'll bring in later. I'm going to use magenta for this case. But you may use whatever you'd like in your own practice. So now that we have the fixturing device in place and we have the level selected, we now have to look at the orientation of the vise. The easiest way to check that would be to right click and look at our top view and kind of see where we are. So you'll notice that instead of looking at the top of the vise, we're kind of looking at it from the front and straight on. And what that tells me is the orientation to the default plane is 90 degrees off from where it should be. We want to rotate this 90 degrees, in this case in the y-axis, in order to get the vise oriented to match up with the top view. Okay. You can do that a couple different ways. My personal preference is to go into the transform. And I like to use dynamic, which basically gives you a visual representation of how you're orienting the part. I find it's really easy to understand after you use it for a couple of times. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to click on dynamic. I'm going to pick box my vise, or also again, you can individually click the two pieces if you like. After you select those two parts, I'm going to end the selection. And you're going to see that we have a gnomon show up here. It's basically a cursor that we're going to drop down as an anchor point, and then we're going to choose the direction that we want to rotate the part in. Right now, we're only concerned with the actual rotation of the part. We're not really too concerned about where it is in space. So I'm going to click anywhere in the black box area for now, just to make it clear and easy to see and understand. And again, you'll notice that we can select each one of these segments, and each of these segments or individual lines represents a directional move. So the Y, X, and Z axes are straight line moves. Okay, you don't change the orientation at all. You just move in space up and down, left or right. These axes here actually allow you to rotate the part position. So in our case, our front of the vise is basically 90 degrees off kilter to where we'd like it. We want to rotate the part up in this direction, which is basically this selection here. You see how the compass kind of shows you rotating around. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this, and I'm going to get a preview so we can see how the part's rotating. You can see that we're moving in the right direction, right? The top of the part is moving in the correct axis. And what I'm going to do right now is just type in 90 degrees without hitting anything else. Just type in 90, and you'll notice that the text goes in the box. The first enter key that you hit after selecting your input is going to show you a preview. So you'll see that we locked in at 90 degrees. If I go and right click top after this, that's how we're going to check it. The second enter key is actually what locks it in position. So the first enter key shows you the preview. The second enter key gives you the command. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that move is selected. We don't want to copy. This is by default, so this is okay. And we're going to hit OK on this. So now you'll see that we moved, or we rotated the part around the axis. And when I right click and go to top, my top plane, you'll notice that our vise is now in the proper alignment. So that the top plane and the top of the vise are now in line. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm just going to undo real quick and just try to do it one more time just so you get a good idea how to do it. So dynamic, pick box and select the pieces you wish to rotate. And the selection, I'm going to left click the gnomon. I'm going to select the axis that I want to rotate on, which in this case is between the Y and the Z. I'm going to type in 90 degrees once. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to hit enter again to lock that in position, and then I'm going to click OK. So now when I'm looking at my top view, we are in line with the base top plane that is default in MasterCAM when you first open this up. Okay, we're not going to use these planes for actual manufacturing process, but these are kind of reference points, and this is a good place to start. So now that we have oriented the device properly, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to take the home position that MasterCAM has by default, and I'm going to place the device in that position using a translate. What I'd like to do is I want to have the fixed end of the vise, so meaning the part of the vise that's not going to move. Again, this is going to move up and down depending on the width of the part. This corner here is always going to be static. So just as a quick point of reference, I'm going to just move my back jaw away from the front of the fixed jaw real quick, just so it's easier for you to see exactly what we're going to be doing here. So this is the fixed point right here. We're going to use this snap point to locate the fixed jaw at this 0 position here. And again, I am getting this position or this cursor here by using the F9 key. That's turning on the axis for top and just showing you where that is. This point here will be available for us to snap to. So when I'm doing linear moves, I like to use the regular translate command. And the reason being is that it is a very simple tool and allows you to use existing geometry to move parts in space. So I'm going to select my 2 pieces as usual. I'm going to hit end selection. And I'm going to ensure that move is selected. I don't want to copy. I want to move the workpiece. And what I'm going to use for a tool in this dialog box is I'm going to use the from and to options. So basically what this allows you to do is pick 2 points. The +1 button, your first point, you click on the part where you want the point to be. So basically when you click on +1, I'm going to select the front edge of the fixed, the bottom left-hand corner there, basically, of the fixed edge. What that does is that gives me it gives me an anchor point, so that I'm going to go and choose my 0, 0 point here by snapping to that, and it's going to move everything over and basically put this point on top of this point. And you'll see that in a second here. So the purple is my preview. Okay, you'll notice that I'm moving from point to point here. When I hit apply, you'll see that the move happens, and it's just the red box, the red outline is showing you where the old position was. By hitting end selection and OK, now we're actually exiting the command and the move is locked in place. So you'll notice that this is line on line now, and we'll be using this a lot. So I'm going to go back and show you that one more time. Let me hit undo here. And actually, I just noticed that I kind of screwed this up too, but I can fix that later. So we're going to undo this and just practice to translate one more time. Again, it's under Transform, Translate. We're going to do a pick box and make sure both pieces are selected. I'm going to end the selection. I'm going to use my from and to, starting on my +1 button here. I'm going to select the point on the part that I want to be the 00 position. And then I'm going to select the snap point on 000. And we're going to hit OK on that. So that's pretty much how I transform and translate. I'll use dynamic to rotate pieces when I have to, and I will use translate to move things in the X, Y, and Z positions dimensionally. So now that we have done that, what we're going to do next is we're going to bring in the part that we're going to be manufacturing and basically do the same alignment process that we just did on the vise. So our simple part that we're going to be manufacturing, I'm going to merge into the file. The file is called, let's see, here we go. So week 2 WCS tutorial, it's going to be a square block. Okay. You're going to notice that it comes in kind of on top of the vise, and that's okay because we're going to turn the vise off while we're working on it for now. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to go into our levels. And interestingly enough, something didn't come in properly here. Let's go ahead and make a new level for the part. So, and this level is going to be number 5. I like to leave some space in between. And this level is going to be up 10 parts. Okay. Now what I want to do is highlight the solid. I'm going to right click, change level, and we're going to go ahead and move this part to the op 10 part. Okay, I should see a 1 entity come up over here if this works correctly. There we go. So there was some kind of glitch there. It wasn't showing that first entity. And now what we're going to do is just turn the vise off and just focus on the part for now. So for this instance, we're going to say that the top of the part is the surface that has this nice circular pocket on top. And if we go to do a top view, you're going to notice that we have the same kind of issue that the vise had, right? We're looking at it from the front when we want the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a dynamic rotate to similarly get in the vise and basically align those two planes together. So I'm going to go back to dynamic. I'm going to highlight the part. I'm going to end the selection. I'm going to go a little isometric just so I can see what I'm selecting here. Let's put that in space again. We're going to rotate around the same axis we used for the vise. So again, I'm going to click on one of these 3 radials. I'm going to type in 90 to swing my part up. Okay, that's the direction I want to go. I'm going to hit enter one more time to confirm the command. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And again, by right-clicking and going to top, you'll now see that we have the proper orientation. Also similar to what we did with the vise, I also want to give this its own color. I'm going to select it and right-click, and I'm going to go to the solid color change button here. And I'm going to go ahead and make this, we'll make this blue for now. You can pick anything you want in regards to that. That's going to be it for the first video. In the next video I create, we're going to look at placing the part into the fixture, and then we're going to also be setting up these 3 other planes that we need in order to machine all 3 of these features. So we're going to have a top, a front, and a bottom plane to play with. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in part 2.